Greetings everybody, it's Emily from Pages and Ink, and I'm sorry if I sound terrible. I'm getting over a cold, so my voice is kind of shot and my nose is all stuffed. So it's awesome, but I tried to cover my ick with some makeup so I feel pretty, give myself a little more of a confidence boost. And today I am going to be doing my book talk on Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir, which I originally thought that would have been a good idea to be like, oh, it's behind me as like a reveal, but it's kind of like, whatever, like I'm gonna keep doing it. Anyway, I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars because it wasn't what I was expecting, and it was missing something that even with how dark the first book was, it still had this thing, and A Torch Against the Night didn't really seem to have it for me. I knew from pretty much the beginning that everything was just gonna go to hell. Like, I could feel it. Whereas in the first one, I was like, oh, she'll get out, she'll do what she accomplished, she'll save her brother, it'll be all good. So the thing that I'm talking about is hope. The first book, even with Leia being enslaved, and the trials where Elias is forced to kill a lot of people he cares about, and he has to pretty much choose between saving a scholar and being true to his maskdom, being a mask, which ultimately he's choosing either himself because he knows that if he chooses her, he'll be put to death. I'm not saying choosing her like, oh, I love her, I'm gonna marry her. I mean choosing her as in he's made this big decision as part of the trials, and they're like, okay, you have to do this thing, and if you don't do this thing, you pretty much die. And I'm not gonna tell you what specifically that thing is, but yeah. So even with all of the dark and all the bad that's in An Ember in the Ashes, the first book, this book there was, from the beginning, I was like, they're just gonna have so much trouble getting where they need to go, aren't they? I'm not gonna go into too big, specifics, just because, for, spoiler's sake, I like to keep my videos as spoiler-free as possible. So I'm not gonna get into too much detail, but just be prepared to read this book and feel just like nothing is going right in the world, because that's pretty much what I felt, and it made it so difficult to push through it. And there was a lot of unnecessary crap, and I don't mean crap like, oh, it's terrible, it's awful. I mean crap like, just, here's their goal, here's where they started, there's all this stuff in between. I mean, there's just stuff that they have to get through. So, for example, and this isn't big of a spoiler, but the weather seems to be really weird around them, and it hinders them. There's a sandstorm and rain. So for that makes kind of sense a little bit, except it's not revealed till later why the weather is so weird, and the fact that this one thing can influence the weather is a little weird to me. But there's one specific thing I'm not going to actually talk about because, again, spoilers, but hopefully when you read it, you'll understand, or if you've already read it, you know what I'm talking about. But that one thing that, makes everything kind of seem futile, that happens at the beginning between the Commandant and Elias, I was just like, this is entirely unnecessary. This does not need to happen. But it happened, and lo and behold, something kind of cool came out of it, but still, it was just kind of, didn't need to happen. Especially because apparently it's going to be a 4-book series, even though I kind of thought it was just going to be a duology. Shows what I know. I don't know how Elias is going to play, what kind of part in the next 2 books, compared to where he is. I'm not gonna talk about too many specifics, but anyway, there are 3 characters that are new to this specific book. There are 3 new characters that are new to the series that come and play in this specific book. Let me rephrase. So there's Harper, Tass, and the Soul Catcher, whose name I can't, because she has a real name and I can't remember for the life of me. I think it's Sheva, Sheava, or something like that. So I'll talk about them. Harper is the Commandant's spy. He's the interrogator for Black Cliff, or the Blackguard, one of those. And at the beginning of the book, he interrogates Helen, and he's known for being pretty brutal with his interrogations. And the Commandant uses him as a spy for Helen, who's now the Bloodstrike, so he can watch her move and report to the Commandant, because the Commandant, which is blatantly obvious, so it's not a spoiler, is trying to stop her, well, not stop her, but trying to kind of like send her on her way to deal with these things. And I think it's even mentioned by a couple characters, like she's just trying to get us out so she can influence the Emperor. I mean, it's discussed so often that by the time that they actually realize, oh my gosh, she's actually doing this, you're like, where have you been? You've even said this before, and it's just now smacking you in the face that, hey, this is going on, you should do something about it. But the reason why I think Harper is kind of noteworthy is because you kind of see him transition from this hard, kind of dislikable guy into somebody that actually you can tell has a conscience and has a heart and is actually trying to do what's best for the Empire and not just the people that he serves. And he actually becomes Helen's ally. I wouldn't necessarily say friend, I wouldn't necessarily say companion, but they grow on each other in a way that they can actually work together without really so much holding back information. And you also kind of learn that without like any direct naming, but you kind of figure it out because Layla meets him and she doesn't know who he is, but he has a conversation with her where he reveals that his father is a lot like Elias, and the fact that Elias and his father both, they care about people that aren't marshals. So like, for example, the scholars and the mariners and the tribes people. So his father had a little more compassion like Elias did, and he kept trying to hide it because people kept saying, oh, you're not a mask. Well, people being Marcus in the first book. But anyway, so it kind of showed that Elias isn't the only character or the only marshal that feels that way. And I'm pretty sure there's more, and they just eventually like leave and go into hiding into freelance. Sorry. The second character that I feel is good to mention is Tass, who is a scholar slave in Koth prison, who has been regularly pretty much experimented on by the warden, and yet he's still willing to risk his life to get Darren out of the prison and ultimately try his best to free all the slaves that are still trapped in Koth. He's willing to risk his life to do that with everything he's faced, and the fact that he even makes new friends. So there are actually people that, would care if he died. He's still willing to risk his life in order to help everybody out. And at first, Elias is like, "You're not going to help us. I don't want you to be punished any more than you already are." And he's like, "I can do this. Just trust me." Which was kind of cool, because in the end he does end up helping, and Tass is a pretty awesome character, and I'm really hoping that he'll be more important in the later books, because I feel like, considering Tass is a name given to him by one of the characters, that action alone proves that he's important enough to be in the later books, because Tass is pretty cool. I want to see more of him. The third character that I feel is kind of noteworthy is the Soul Catcher, and she's kind of like the Grim Reaper, but not in the way that like the Grim Reaper meets the person before death and like carries their soul to the afterlife. She's actually waiting in what's called the waiting place, which is in the ways in between the waking world or the living world and the world after, or like the afterlife. And she's there, she greets them, and she tries to help them cross over and move on into the afterlife. But of course, there's some people that, don't want to go. There's something keeping them in the waiting place. And she has actually been trapped there for thousands of years, and she's one of the remaining jinn in the world, which is not so much a spoiler, just because it's blatantly obvious from the beginning that she's not entirely human. So there's that. She kind of starts off to be a character that I wasn't really all that fond of, but she actually started to make the story a little more interesting the more she revealed about the world and about Elias and what part she technically had to play and leading up to this and who the Nightbringer is, and it's actually made it a lot easier for me to finish reading. So she's actually a pretty cool person. There are a couple plot twists that I both saw coming and like not entirely, which I won't really get into, but I have one word of advice, is when you're reading this book specifically, pay attention to all the little things or the things that are mentioned like offhanded and then kind of not really discussed all that much, because they're probably going to lead you to a plot twist, and you'll pretty much see it coming in a way, but not like the specific thing. At least I didn't figure out the specific thing. I just had a feeling that because it had been discussed, like characters are like, oh, I have a bad feeling. I'm not, how would they know that? And it's just, yeah. So, just watch out. But if you're the kind of person that likes to be surprised and just read it, don't pay any special mind to anything, then you'll be surprised. But that's all I have for this specific video. I'm actually going to do another video, and I'm going to try to make a video. Let me make this announcement official. I'm going to be making videos at least every Friday. I'm going to try to make 2, and this does not include my unboxing videos. For my Owl Crate, I will do them whenever I get them. So even if it's not a Friday, for example, it's usually like a Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes it's a different day, but anyway. When I get them, I'm going to do the unboxing video, because I do not have the patience to let that sit until Friday. Even if it's a Thursday, I'll be like, I need to know what's in it, and I don't want to like scroll through Instagram and be like, oh, here is all of the stuff in my Owl Crate. So I'm gonna do them when I get them. But Fridays are going to be, I'm gonna try to do at least one video every Friday, and that one video is going to be what I call Friday Faves, or Fave Friday. And I have a jar of topics and books, and it's kind of like Top 5 Wednesday, except there's no set limit and there's no structure. So if you haven't seen my videos before, this is the first video you've seen, beware, I tend to ramble, and that's kind of what this is going to be, is I pick out a favorite thing, or like a topic, and I just sit here and I talk about it, share my opinions, if it's a book series, why I like it, who's my favorite characters, what are my favorite quotes. I believe there are some specific characters in here because they're just some of my favorites, and I feel like they might need their own video type thing. There's also genres in here, so there's a bunch of different things, and I'm gonna draw one every Friday and do a video. And I know there's definitely not enough in here to do a video every Friday for the whole year. I'm gonna have to figure out more topics to talk about, but that's going to be my project for this year, is every Friday I'm going to do a video that's Fave Fridays. I'm also going to try to do book talks if I have to put them off, because sometimes when I finish a book I need time to kind of collect my thoughts and really mull it over and figure out how I really feel about it, because if I didn't like an ending, or if I just didn't completely enjoy a book, I'll put it off and then I'll never get it done. So this way, if I put it off, like say I finish Monday and I start a new book, even if I put it off till Friday, as long as I get it done, I will consider it an accomplishment. So that's part of why I'm going to start to do them on Fridays. It's just so I'm already doing this thing, that way I can do the other things. Tags may or may not also be included on Fridays. I may do them just whenever. But I'm trying to make Fridays my video days so I don't fall behind anymore, and I'm going to try to post 2 if possible. If not possible, then just the Friday faves, and then I believe next week is when I'm going to get my Owl Crate, so there's that. But that is all I have. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but I'm excited. I have my semi-cute little jar, and I probably shouldn't be talking so much with the way that my voice is, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm an adult and I can do what I want. But I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. It means so much. Thank you for your patience with my voice and how awful I sound, which to you, I might actually sound the same. To me, I sound totally different, so. Anyway, I will see you guys. Happy reading.